ES Audio.
Hello, I'm Mark Blunden, and from London Tech Week in Westminster, this is the Evening Standard's Tech and Science Daily. Coming up, thousands flee Philippines volcano eruption. But first, it's London Tech Week and PM Rishi Sunak's open proceedings here at Westminster's QE2 Centre.
We are an island of innovation, but at a moment like this, when the tectonic plates of technology are shifting, not just in AI, but in quantum, synthetic biology, semiconductors and much more, we cannot rest satisfied with where we stand.
One of Sunak's surely controversial points was about the future application of artificial intelligence in the classroom. But could this AI software army help beat our traffic jams as the capital gasps under heat and traffic fumes? And could it help win the war on fly tipping? We're joined by Theo Blackwell, London's Chief Digital Officer, to find out how TfL's using AI to help keep the capital moving.
Instead of people counting cars and cyclists and pedestrians and people on e-scooters, it's actually an AI which, through our camera feeds, can identify the types of vehicles that are being used in the city and therefore plan traffic better on that basis.
People will be worried with this march of AI we've been hearing about from the Prime Minister earlier in terms of bringing artificial intelligence into the classrooms. Now we're talking about it in London's traffic network, in the cameras. This is the march of the robots. And how are you going to ensure that people's privacy and anonymity in the city can be protected?
Well, let's remember that Transport for London has a long history and experience of using people's data for public benefit. And of course, everything that we do, we strictly comply with UK GDPR, meaning that if you do something with people's data, you've got to define what your purpose is, and also you need to operate with people's consent as well. So they're very strong basis of privacy that's locked into innovation in our city.
How is it you're going to hope to deploy AI to solve the blight of fly tipping?
In South London, it's already happening. So for the last 4 years, they piloted a sensor network to understand local needs. And one of those local needs, as was expressed, was there was a lot of fly tipping going on. So by using sensors, they were able to detect patterns of fly tipping, which enabled council officers to enforce better. Now to the latest news from the world of tech and science. More than 12,600 people have been evacuated after the Philippines' most active volcano erupted, sending lava oozing down its slopes. Communities within a near 4-mile radius of the Mayon Volcano were told to flee, but thousands of people remain within the high-risk zone. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology say the danger zone could be expanded if the eruption gets worse. Next, environmental authorities have launched an investigation after thousands of dead fish washed up along the Gulf Coast in Texas over the weekend. The incident coincided with a spike in temperatures at Quintana Beach in Brazoria County as temperatures reached over 33 degrees C. The Texas Parks and Wildlife Kills and Spills team described it as a low dissolved oxygen event, but found no evidence of a chemical spill impacting the fish. Now, it's a case of r/complaints as nearly 3,500 online forums on the social media site Reddit go dark on Monday in protest at changes in its pricing structure. Millions of members of gaming, music and fact-sharing subreddits will, for a day, voluntarily step away from the keyboard in the blackout, along with fans who frequent pages dedicated to the likes of Taylor Swift and Harry Potter. They've been set to private in protest over Reddit's announcement it would charge developers of popular third-party viewing apps for using its interface from next week. Reddit, which has its own official app, says it spends millions on hosting costs, needs to be fairly paid by third parties using its platform. Now at London Tech Week, let's meet one of the capital's startups that's solving a unique problem for people immersed in virtual reality. How to get up off the sofa and keep moving. We're joined by Ashley Foxcroft, founder of Freeaim VR shoes.
This started as a sort of a lockdown project a couple of years ago. Kind of saw these issues with virtual reality and the limitations of not being able to kind of move around and sort of stuck with joysticks and teleportation and this kind of like immersion breaking things that also cause motion sickness as well.
Could you explain to us exactly what they look like?
They kind of look like a pair of shoes, effectively, but they're kind of like a miniaturized treadmill underneath. So they got kind of like motorized wheels and belts underneath with a lot of different sensors on there. Gives haptic feedback as well as foot tracking and foot visualization, so you can see your feet in VR.
What do you hope is going to be the application for these in this growing space of VR, AR, etc.?
We're looking at eventually sort of like a consumer product for gaming, which will be kind of like mass market. But right now we're looking at partnerships with businesses for different kind of training applications, whether it's in kind of like retail, industrial training, public sector like fire, police, etc., and also medical rehabilitation as well.
Let's go to the ads. Stay there for more news from the world of tech and science. Why not hit follow in the meantime and give us a rating. Welcome back.
The Empire? They're everywhere.
Shaking bones. Been a while.
Previews of Star Wars Outlaws and South of Midnight there. Just two of the huge releases announced during Microsoft's Xbox Games Showcase. Star Wars Outlaws will feature a new main character who's not a Jedi or a Sith. And finally, it's the social study the world's been waiting for, because scientists have finally cracked the Da Vinci Code of societal conundrums. Just what is the perfect number of dinner party guests? Well, the answers go in multiples of 4, and you'll be sure to keep the conversation flowing. Anthropologist Professor Robin Dunbar revealed the magic number at the Cheltenham Science Festival. It comes after his previous research suggested all those squillions of Facebook and TikTok followers were pretty much pointless, as people can manage only 150 meaningful social relationships. You're up to date. Come back at 4 p.m. for the Leader podcast for the latest news, interviews and analysis from the Evening Standard here in London, and we'll be back on Tuesday at 1 p.m. See you then.